Prepare for battle.
We need to get some funding.
And we are live once again on NVR Live, first show of 2019, and we are back with a vengeance. And who better to be back with a vengeance with than, of course, Matt.
Yes, from the Legion. Thank you so much, Matt, and welcome everybody back. It is great to be back. We've been either on vacation or sick or whatever. So finally,
or
working. Yes, your schedule's been nuts. So we're glad to have Matt here this evening. And unfortunately, not great news, but he's done some great, wonderful work. But we need to get the message out. Unfortunately, when New York, California, and these states do what's going on, it tends to be like a cancer. So we really felt, Matt, you've done such wonderful work. I want to let you go ahead and talk about what's been going on in your area out there.
Yeah, I just realized that I'm doing all this while the show's going on. Jesus.
Boom. Hello, Matt.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? So sorry, I'm literally answering like 4 PMs right now. Wow, y'all brought me back for your first show of 2019. What the hell is wrong with you people?
Well, I mean, the thing is, Matt, for one, New York's been the hot spot in 2019.
It really has been. You know, that's not to take anything away from what's happening around the rest of the country as far as regulations and you know, bans, proposed bans, bills, taxes, et cetera, et cetera. You know, that's happening all over the place. I mean, prime example, you look at California. California is basically on fire right now. You know, the one place that was the mecca of all vaping, you know, for those of y'all that have been vaping long enough, remember back in, you know, 2012, 2013, 2014, hell, even 2015, California was like the place for vaping.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, look at Smiley.
Yeah,
Smiley
absolutely.
came out of California and now they're closed.
Oh, no, Smiley closed?
You hadn't heard?
They've been closed.
Bruh, I am everywhere yet nowhere at the same time.
I thought you knew, Matt.
Yeah.
No, I would have fucking reached out to him if I knew. Jesus
he closed,
Christ.
Smiley back in February. That's why he disappeared. And that's why I closed my website. My line is gone. All of his lines are gone. Everything.
Jesus Christ. You know, that is fucking horrible. You know, and it's a damn shame too, because, you know, talk about someone that was doing it right. You know, going through the licensing, going through the clean lab, going through the batches, going through everything that needed to be done, and advocating, you know, and being an activist too. You know, we talk a lot about advocating. We have to advocate for this, advocate for that. You know, to touch on something that Rodman from Vape Radio quotes David G, the former Winston man. You know, we don't need advocates right now. We need activists. And, you know, it could not be more true. You know, it's great that people want to be advocates. They want to say, I advocate for this. I advocate for vaping. That's awesome. We do need people to do that. But what we need are people to go to these committee hearings, go to these sessions with their local government, you know, take a stand, you know, tell their story, let them know the facts about vaping, because our backs are against the wall by the ants, you know, our backs are against the wall by big pharma, by big tobacco, by, you know, hell, even people in the own industry are turning their backs on us, selling out to big tobacco. And you know what? I want to yell at them, but at the same time, can't blame them. I can't blame them for, you know, doing what they had to do and protecting their business. It's a damn shame.
Yeah.
But it makes our argument of we are not big tobacco that much harder. You know what I mean? Like, It's very hard to say we are not big tobacco when the number one vape thing that people hear about is Juul.
Yeah. And it's bought by big tobacco.
And Altria now owns a percentage
bought
of it.
35% of the Juul company.
Yep.
And, you know, you see that. You look at Juul's commercials, and it screams big tobacco money.
Absolutely.
And, you know, they have some amazing commercials. I can't even lie. The Juul commercials, that targets that age group. That targets the adult. That targets the smoker. But there's one little problem. They say, I quit using Juul. Not I quit using vaping.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they want to promote their product, of course.
Absolutely. And you know what? You spend fucking, what was it, $32 billion into that company, and you are damn sure going to protect your product.
Exactly.
Right. Absolutely. Well, it's just like what David G did in the 80s, promoting Winston and taking him from what, number 8 to number 2. I mean, it made it cool. Go climb a mountain. Yet when you talk to him, he was using oxygen because he was smoking 5 packs a day.
Right. I was smoking I had to quit baseball because I was smoking. My coach found me coughing up blood and was like, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
Cigarettes or baseball?
Mm-hmm.
And I went, shit, I'm going to try doing both. And then he caught me again, and out you go.
My husband and I smoked 30 years, quit because I had brain tumors. My husband just celebrated a year because he was diagnosed with beginning COPD. We lost his dad July 6th with end-stage COPD. He drowned to death. We saw the consequences of his dad dying, drowning from smoking 4 packs a day for most of his life. You know, so yeah, not vaping, but Juul. I mean, we've made it attractive, and yeah, it's.
And my issue with Juul is, you know, so back when the stigma about vaping used to be the bearded, tattooed cloud chasers, you know, that was, oh, these vapors are nothing but a bunch of hoodlums and their beards and their tattoos and all this shit. Well, you know what? Fuck you, motherfuckers. Like,
I'm an old woman with gray hair. I have a granddaughter. I mean, yeah.
So, like, you know,
that's not me.
That was the stigma then. Right. And, you know, whenever anyone heard about vape, all they had in their head were these big bearded, tattooed, ear gauged, you know, guys blowing these giant clouds.
Right. Yeah.
You ask anyone what they think about when they think of vape now?
They think of teens.
Juul.
Yeah.
They think about underage use of Juul because that's what the media is planting in everyone's brains. And I can tell y'all from firsthand experience talking to politicians, even in my own area, Suffolk County, for the flavor ban, their concern is the use of Juul by underage young adults. And, you know, it's really a shame, too, because when you hear underage, it used to have a different meaning.
Yeah.
You know, when you heard underage, you were like, oh, well, anyone under the age of 18. Well, Suffolk County is 21. So now when you hear underage, you have 18, 19, and 20-year-olds that fall into that category.
And these are people that vote and can go fight for our country.
Right. And they can get tried as an adult for crimes.
Absolutely.
You know, everyone always says the whole argument about, well,
pod systems.
You can't use the, well, if you can fight for your country, you should have the right to vape because there's no draft anymore.
What?
All right, I'll see that argument. No, I'll see that argument. So I switch it up. If you are active duty and you are either a veteran or enlisted at 18, 19, or 20, you should be able to do those things. Only if you are in active duty or a veteran. But, you know, everyone's going to have their own opinion about that. So.
But that makes a good point. It really does, Matt. It really makes a very good point. They want all the privileges, but they don't want to actually put in the effort. And that's what's happened with the industry too right now, Matt. In my personal opinion, people have gotten very complacent. Like you said, we need activists. Nobody or let me rephrase that. The vast majority, it seems like, do not want to do what the three of us and many others do, actually sitting down, writing our testimonies, sending real testimonies to...
No, see, people are willing to do that. People are willing to do that.
See, most people...
Not the amount that we need.
Yeah,
a lot of people are willing to do that.
A lot of people, but not the majority. The majority... And this is one of my issues that I had with what we talked about a little earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big canned response individual. You can urge someone all you want to put in a little bit extra, but if that first and last paragraph is not original and they get 20,000 of the same one, every one of those 20,000 are going into the 86 bin. Everyone.
Well, you have to think, are they reading all of them? No.
No, they can't.
So here's the thing. Each one of those is supposed to represent a voter. It's supposed to represent a constituent. That's the thing. It's not what is on it 100% that matters. It's the number of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, but so whenever there's any like comment period or anything like that with the FDA or with my local government, I write damn near 5 paragraphs of stuff.
Yep.
But I've also been in the industry long enough that I've been there from the beginning when it was the Wild West days and watched the evolution of the industry, watched the evolution of the regulations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've seen. So I can write about that stuff.
Yeah.
But many don't think about it. And I was talking to someone the other day. I'm not going to mention names, but I had a long conversation with this person. I'm talking about 3-hour conversation about vaping, and which I absolutely love to do.
Yeah.
Especially like ranking members in the industry and advocacy and all that. So me and this person were talking, and they said something that really got my attention. You're dealing with a community and an industry of ex-smokers,
mm-hmm.
but who are still smokers, if you know what I mean.
We are.
I'm like, well, what does that mean? Think about it. When you smoke cigarettes, did you fight for your right to smoke cigarettes?
No.
When they passed indoor bans on smoking, did you go rally and go, I want to smoke indoors? No. You accepted it.
Mm-hmm.
When they raised the tax on cigarettes, did you fight it? No, you got pissed the fuck off, but you still bought your cigarettes. So we are taking all of these people, converting them to vapors, and we are now asking them to fight for their ability to vape.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
We're
different
fighting a losing battle right there.
Yeah.
Right.
The apathy of the smoker has become the apathy of the vapor.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, I remember when I could buy cigarettes at 99 cents a pack. Shoot, no, wait. I can remember in front of Kmart when they came out with Capris and were giving them away free.
All right, you're really starting to date yourself now.
All right, shut up. But I'm serious. So you're right in that aspect that it's a totally different. We didn't fight. We didn't fight it.
Well, see, I remember my grandfather receiving Winston jackets and handing them to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just would hand them to me.
There's still my grandpa still has, and I used to wear it when I was a teenager and I still smoked. My grandpa has a Marlboro hoodie that I used to rock. And shit, I'm talking back when I was like 14, 15, I was wearing it.
All right.
One, it was fucking comfortable, and two, I smoked Marlboros at the time.
Yeah.
But
so the problem is we don't have activists.
Mindset.
We don't have We don't have activists. And what activism really is when you go to these hearings and you speak, and you go to these hearings and you give your testimony, and you make the effort to not just call politicians, but you actually make the effort to set up meetings and sit down with them, give a face to this vaping problem that they have. And you let them know, we're not going to deny that there is an issue with young adults using products that they should not be using. You would have to be very stupid and very naive to admit that there is no issue. But the issue is not an epidemic like they claim it is.
No.
What an epidemic is, what the real epidemic is the hundreds of millions of lives that are ended by smoking-related illnesses every single year, every 10 years, every 50 years, every 100 years. That is the epidemic.
Oh, yeah.
And by squandering this life-saving industry, this harm reduction product, you are contributing to that epidemic.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to explain things to them in ways that they are going to understand.
Yeah.
Now, we have a lot of more science behind us than we used to. Obviously, we have the Royal College of Physicians, but okay, a lot of people don't want to hear about the Royal College of Physicians because it was done in the UK. We're America. We don't deal with that. Fine. Now we have other studies done. We have the Dr. Abrams report that came out. And that is amazing.
Yeah.
That was what we were waiting for. That's what we were waiting for, that we can show them. Plus, we have other studies. If you own a business, I guarantee your business is about 80% or more flavored products that you are selling.
Oh, yeah.
So when they talk about a flavor ban, you'll be out of business. Now, they want to tax the business. They want to be able to make money off of you because guess what? You're in their ball game. You got to pay to play. You can't get blood from a stone.
Exactly.
And if the vape shops are shut down because no one's going to be using tobacco and menthol, or you have the customers that say, "Oh, but I can vape tobacco or menthol." Hey, that's good for you. You're gonna buy enough to keep my doors open?
And see, you can actually use Pennsylvania as a perfect example. They were overtaxed. So many businesses closed. Over 1/3 of the vape shops in the first year closed. Over 1/3. And then the next year, because the tax dollars went down so drastically, what did you see? You saw some of the actual people in the House and the Senate there in Pennsylvania coming out wanting to bring out a new version of the bill. I mean, it was so funny. They wanted to get rid of the 40% and exchange it with a per mil tax.
Which I have an issue with a per mil tax.
See, I don't have as much of an issue with a per mil tax, just simply because anything to save vaping. That's the way I look at it. I would not go as much as I've heard some people use 20, 80 cent per mil tax.
Well, there's a standalone for 25 cents per mil tax here in New York.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That is $15 tax on a 60 mil.
Yeah. That's going too much. Now, like West Virginia, I'll tell you right now, the West Virginia tax is not bad at 7.5 cents. 7.5 is not bad. For a 60 mil, it's $4.
See, now the issue when you do a per mil tax, who does that benefit?
Well, it depends. It depends on who actually pays the tax. You know, a lot of times when
No. Who does it benefit?
The government.
No.
Who then?
Think.
shop?
It benefits the company that
makes it. Oh, yeah, the
it.
company that makes it, yeah.
No, think of what companies make the products that would benefit from it. Come on.
The pods? Like Juuls?
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it. Those products aren't even 1 milliliter.
Yeah.
Now, who does it hurt?
The manufacturers like yourself. I see where you're coming from.
The open systems.
Mm-hmm.
Now, ironically enough, what are the problems that they have? What do they have the problems with the most? The pod system.
Yeah.
So, by them doing a per mil tax,
kills
the
us.
only ones that really benefit from it are the pod systems, which they're having the problems with in the first place.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that.
No, but it's absolutely
yeah.
I mean, I understand. I agree. I don't agree with the all or nothing scenario. We have to give some. I was not hurt by having a lot of the things taken out of convenience stores and gas stations and placed into the vape shops. Because in my mind, by placing all the flavors into vape shops, solved a lot of the problem, in my opinion, of the teen usage.
But you know what the problem is?
I know
there's no law.
Yeah.
There's no law in that. It was what the FDA wanted to have done.
Yeah, and they should take it to Congress and get Congress to act. You know, the thing is, I've always had a big thing against that deeming rule from the beginning. I've been against it. And it should have went back to Congress because, first off, I've said from the beginning, it was mentioned. Vaping was barely mentioned during the original Tobacco Control Act, and it was left alone.
Right.
We should have had to go back to Congress to get it added on.
Congress is the one that's supposed to be making laws.
Yeah.
That's the way our government is supposed to work. However, our Congress has given the power, and everybody says, well, they don't make laws, it's just rules. Well, that's a law because everybody's fined for it.
What's the penalty? What's the penalty for having your products in a gas station or a convenience store still?
They get fined. Monetary fines.
Who fines them?
Either the state or the federal government will.
I don't know if they've started that yet, though. That's the only problem.
Not yet, but it will. It's not anymore, but with government shutdown, there's no regulation right now. But as of Monday, it'll go back, possibly. Who knows? We'll take
so here's the thing. Even before then, when the FDA made that rule, there's no enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how many companies have misbranded products still. Look at how many companies don't even have the proper warning labels.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the one that was posted today from BVLK. I mean,
where is the penalties? The FDA is saying you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, and you know what's happening?
They're not following.
The right manufacturers, the proper manufacturers are following this. And you know what's happening? They're getting shit because the shitbag companies out there that are not following what the FDA is supposed to be enforcing just walk around scot-free.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You still have the companies like Candy King out there. You still have the companies like Pop Clouds out there. You still have all of those shit companies out there peddling their shit for almost next for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Shitting on all the companies that are taking the time, the money, and doing it the right way.
Like Naked. Smiley, who went out of business because he couldn't compete anymore. He was done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the law or the rules, there's no enforcement. The FDA has no idea what they're doing.
Absolutely. Now, I have to say from a state point of view here, Julie, there's been tons of enforcement here.
Well, that's because it's your state enforcing their laws.
It's awful.
That's state laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Federal laws, there's almost zero enforcement.
I know it's frustrating, but even at the state level, you're correct. There's certain laws. I go into local shops. They're not supposed to have this on a label right now. It's supposed to be covered.
Right.
It's on a shelf. And this is a $2,500 a bottle fine, and it's supposed to be confiscated.
Right.
That's when I'd start calling the health department.
Why? You would start snitching on companies that are selling, as far as I'm concerned, very good branded products.
I agree with you, but I'm just making a joke there.
That help people stop smoking?
Oh, I know. I'm just making a joke.
Because I did. Okay, so I'm at fault. I went to a shop. I bought this because I like it. I don't think this is child appealing at all. And I bought it in a 21 and over shop.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just making a joke so everybody knows that was just a joke.
There is a lawsuit going on here in Oregon to take back so that this won't have to be. I have another shop that does cover all the labels, or the boxes at least. I mean, we can't even have strawberry on it in Oregon. It has to be covered. Or iced has to be covered.
So when I went up to Albany, and I want to first take a moment to thank NYSVA, New York State Vaping Association, for inviting me up to Albany, showing me the behind the scenes way of how things get done, you know. And I was really impressed. The relationships with the politicians, the relationships with the staffers, you know, it's very interesting how things get done up there. And, you know, so we went in with a specific set of goals, because we're facing issues from the governor's budget here in New York. Mm-hmm. And one of which is a 20% wholesale and or retail tax. The way it's written is is it and or is it or? Mm-hmm. So we're facing that. We're also facing the governor giving the ability to ban flavors over to the health department.
State or local?
State. So they can deem what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Now there is some stuff that is in the governor's budget that not opposed against. Every vape shop or every smoke shop that sells vapor products has to have a vapor license. So Suffolk County started a thing, I believe back in 2015, I want to say. I'd have to double check that. But it's called the ENDS license. So this was right before the FDA came out and said that we are a tobacco product. Suffolk County took it a step further and said, hey, we are going to create a license for vape shops. And but here's the thing. If you had a tobacco license, you did not need an ENDS license because you were already grandfathered in. But if you opened up a shop after, then you needed to have that ENDS license. So they don't even turn around and do their own work to see how many licenses are out there. And this is in Suffolk County. Right. So that's one of the things, you know, that is not opposed to by New York State. The other option is also doing a 21 and over establishment or an 18 and over establishment, wherever you are. Although New York is looking to push tobacco 21, which I already gave you my reasons why I'm against tobacco 21. However, if it comes down to do we lose vaping in New York or do we secede to tobacco 21, well, then the hard choice has to be made. Mm-hmm. But, you know, so it was a great time up in Albany. And, you know, I could really say that I was there. I was talking to politicians. I was talking to the staffers who are just as important because they are the ones that decide what the politician gets.
Yes,
they are the ones in
that
their
really
ears.
write the bills.
Yes, they are.
They're the ones in their ears.
Right. So it was a great experience, and sure. All right. It was a great experience, and it was cold. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It was definitely cold.
Yeah, they go below zero there with wind chill.
Yeah, it was cold, and there was like 2.5 feet of snow up there.
Yeah, Bruce would know about all that because I know he and his name's on the tip of my tongue. Bruce and Jerry. Both of them are from the New York area. That's why.
Oh, I remember Blizzard in '93. Oh yeah, we opened our front door, and my husband had to go out the second-story window just to dig us out. So yeah, I remember.
So
anyway,
yeah, it was a great experience. But we're also facing some other problems here, and this is in a local area. For me in Suffolk County, we're facing a flavor ban.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that company just hit me back up. So.
Oh, good. I was just checking to see if they would hit me up too.
We were talking about that earlier, Bruce. We all know New York area is not just New York City.
I know. I used to live in Central New York, Syracuse, SU.
He said, "Don't say New York area because people think New York City." That's why I said that.
I remember those days.
So, all right. So, Suffolk County is facing a flavor ban. And it was funny because the original hearing we had for the flavor ban, that a lot of people showed up. NYSVA showed up. Gregory Conley showed up. A lot of the vape shops showed up. A lot of distros showed up. It was a great event. It was I think 5 hours. It made a record for the longest health committee hearing ever. I believe also with the highest speaker rate ever. And I believe it topped out at around 70 and change.
Wow.
And they pulled some dirty stuff. They bust in about 100 kids from the local high schools to come in, and they all said the same thing, popcorn lung, juuling, nicotine, addiction, this, that, the third. And, it's funny, as I'm sitting there, and now granted, I don't dress up in a suit and tie that often, but I'm sitting there in my suit and tie, and they're like whispering to each other and pointing, and I'm just having this realization in my head. Son of a bitch. They think we're big tobacco.
Really? I didn't think of that. You looked hot that day because I remembered your pod as you were driving home.
They thought we were big tobacco because this is what everyone tells them. The vapor industry is big tobacco. Mm-hmm. So we're all standing up and we're all saying our piece. And then luckily they table it. So Suffolk County was able to table the flavor ban due to the fact that we showed enough evidence, we showed enough objection to it, and they didn't feel comfortable passing it. Okay. Well, they sessioned it. They tabled it for one session. So now on February 7th, we have the next hearing coming up. And this is where, again, I need everyone to be there, and I need everyone to say their piece. We need activists. So now in that meantime, we've been working I can't even say we've been working with because there hasn't been constant contact, but a lot of the vape shops here have been coming together and okay, so you want regulation. Okay. You want to make sure it gets out of the hands of the youth. Okay. So we set up a whole bunch of ideas, a whole bunch of our own regulations that, here's a proposal. And I'm not going to say exactly what that proposal entailed just because, you know, we wanted to go directly to them.
Right.
But again, this is activism. This is coming together and getting work done. There's not enough of it. And, you know, I don't own a shop. I don't even own a business. I half work for an e-liquid manufacturing facility. Really, 75% of the time I'm doing Legion work or I'm doing advocacy work or other stuff. So it's like, you know, but I'm a vapor and, you know, I'm very
vocal.
Yeah, vocal's a good word. I was going to say I'm very involved, but I am very vocal. I mean, it was proven because if you watch one of my live feeds that outside, I'm actually louder than the crazy pediatrician lady with a megaphone screaming. I'm louder than her.
Yes, I was sitting there laughing when I was watching that, and it was so funny because here they have like 5 people lined up, and here you guys had, it looked like 10 to 20 right in that little corner.
Yeah. And, you know, you got that one crazy pediatrician, who is a pediatrician, by the way. She was on the blowhorn, flavors kill kids, flavor, like whatever the hell she was screaming. I don't remember. So then I'm just like, all right, hold on. I gave the phone to one of my friends who owns a shop. And I just said, all right, I'm going to be loud enough that I can drown her out, gain some media attention onto us. And I asked a simple question. Do we not want the same thing? Do we not want the youth to not vape? Do we not want the youth to not use any of our products? Yes. We don't want your kids. We don't want your kids to be vaping. We want you. We want the adults. We want the smokers. That's who we want. And, you know, I had to be really loud because I was drowning out a megaphone, and
and then everybody jumped in with the "Vaping Saves Lives" chant.
Yup, and then everyone started screaming "Vaping Saves Lives." But it's funny, so everyone's screaming "Vaping Saves Lives." Meanwhile, the chant was actually supposed to be "Flavors Save Lives." Because that's what the pin says. Flavors save lives. Because we're facing a flavor ban. Yeah. But you know, it was a great experience, and that was my first real like activism moment. You know, granted, I've done other things, like I was the only person to show up for a rally in Washington, D.C. Fuck you, Eric Hutchinson. You know, and then there were like high-ranking advocates that were like leading the industry. And they were laughing at me. Oh, look at this loser over here all by himself. And well, fuck you, buddy. So
yeah.
But before that, you know, and then I spoke at the at the Huntington Village hearing about zoning ordinance, and that was it. I had never had really any public speaking experiences. So, you know, going up there and reading what I read, which I wrote out my own script and everything, and you know, it worked. And everyone did their part. So now we're facing not only a continuation of the Suffolk County flavor ban, now we have NYC doing a flavor ban.
Right. So
that is January 30th. The rally is organized by NYSVA, SFATA, and the American Vaping Association. So Gregory Conley is going to be there. Members and board members of NYSVA are going to be there. I'm going out there, and I live in fucking Long Island. You know what I mean? I'm like fucking an hour away from the city, and I'm going.
And that's the 28th of January?
That is the 30th of January.
30th. Okay, because I want to make sure we get that on social media out there for you guys so we can get that pumped up.
It's being shared everywhere.
Yeah.
I know Gregory Conley made an event for it that I know I shared, and I know it's been passed around. Robert, I'm going to get it to you through the chat, and then you can blast it everywhere.
Okay, I'll get it to Jen, and
Absolutely.
she does all of our social media, so... Yeah, we have a perfect setup. I handle a lot of the...
website
setups. I get stuff that's the technical side of things. She handles the social media.
All right, well, I'm going to actually send this to you right now as well. So, with everything going on, the New York City flavor ban, the Suffolk County flavor ban, I want to give a shout out to a shop.
Absolutely.
EB Vape Addicts. Now, come to find out, the company I work for, Strong Island Vapes, apparently we did business with them in the past, and my apologies, I don't actually remember this. This might have been before I worked there. It might have been during. But so when I'm in Albany, I get a call from one of my from my colleague over there, and just letting me know how the day went and everything. And he turns to me and says, "You got a huge package." And I go, "Well, what do you mean I got a huge package?" He goes, "Yeah, it just says, to Matthew Elliott." And I'm like, "What the fuck? All right, open it." I didn't order anything, at least that I'm aware of. And so they open it and they send me pictures and like, "Yo, there's a lot of shirts and like hoodies in here." I'm like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Yeah, they all have like save vape, fight the flavor ban, all these positive advocacy messages." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And so he sends me, and then he's like, "There's a letter too." I'm like, "Okay, now really what the fuck?" So I got the letter pulled up because they sent me the letter through Facebook. It says, "Hey, Matthew, here are a few hoodies and shirts to help with the New York vaping fight. It is not much, but something is better than nothing. Keep what you want, sell the rest to help with your expenses, or donate it. Your choice. Our gift to you. Give them hell. Sincerely, Eric and Clarissa Bordis, EB Vape Addicts."
And I posted the link in the chat for anyone watching the replay as well as watching tonight. Matt actually is wearing one of them, and he has a few around that he can show.
So
and
I was absolutely floored by this. Now here's the thing. I'm a little bit of a big guy. I know I lost weight, which everyone was pointing out to me recently, but I'm a little bit of a big guy. And so they're a little big on me. I mean, they're a little tight on me in some points, but this one says
stop the flavor ban.
Stop the flavor ban. I have another one over here, which I just had them all over here, and I moved shit around looking for my headphones. So that was absolutely wonderful of me. Not. Give me a second. I'm like digging for shit over here. How the fuck? Here we go.
There's already one I see. I might actually go and buy
that's
myself.
The one I need
so there's this one that says, vaping made my life 95% better. So these things are awesome. And on the back, it says T's for advocacy. Okay, I looked at the wrong one when we were trying to find the website. So, it says vaping lifestyle, vape life, vape advocacy. So these things are awesome. And I spoke to, who is it? Eric, I believe his name was.
And I just heard from them, and they said EB Vape Addicts, who I posted their Facebook page in our chat, just wrote me back and said teesforadvocacy.com.
Yes, teesforadvocacy.com is the website. Go check them out. In fact, when I'm done with this, I'm going to do a special live feed and give them a shout out directly on my Facebook. these people actually care, and they don't even have a fight in New York State. You know what I mean? Like they're dealing with their own shit in PA.
Yeah.
But like they took it upon themselves to send me this package so I could give away the shirts or sell the shirts to make money for advocacy or whatever it is. And I didn't ask them to. And they also didn't ask me to give them a shout out either. I told them I was going to. Tough luck. I'm going to do it. And
I just sent the link to here. So
these messages are powerful. So there's very little advocacy swag out there. And they also donate their part of the profits to advocacy. So it's not just, they're just making money off of stuff that says fight for advocacy. They actually donate part of the proceeds to advocacy. As far as I know, there aren't many positive advocacy swag companies out there besides them, and obviously Vaping doesn't. Which
Vaping Swag does too.
What is that?
VapingSwag.com. They have some advocacy shirts on theirs as well.
Okay. So I didn't know about them. I just knew about Vaping Doesn't and now these guys. So I challenge people to go out, purchase a shirt, purchase a hoodie, something, support this company that puts forth an effort to fight for states even that they're not a part of.
Oh, yeah.
I know I'm going to go on as soon as I figure out what the hell is wrong with my bank account, because fucking, I tell you, man, everything in the past couple of days has just... So, like, I can't even get onto my bank account, but I'm going to purchase some stuff from them. I know they sent a whole bunch of stuff, and it doesn't really fit me, but I want to go out. I want to purchase, like, a big-ass hoodie and give them my money for this. And I'm going to wear it to rallies or whatever, Obviously, if I'm speaking at the rallies, I want to dress up nice and, because you're going into a politician's house, basically. You dress to impress. You want to sell them your idea. You want to sell them what you're pitching them. You have to dress nice. I can't always show up to meetings wearing vape swag.
Right.
But, like, this is awesome. And I can't thank them enough. I've thanked them many, many times. And they're also a shop. They're a vape shop in PA. So they know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
They're feeling the heat already.
Right. Also, our network sponsor, Belltown Vapors, has this particular one. We all have seen everybody holding the signs. But they will personalize it, saying what you quit with and how long you smoked.
Now, I have to ask, does any of that funding go to not blowing smoke?
No.
Okay. All right. Perhaps I can support that then.
No. And then this one is from Frig Ramsey's group. I have several of his. One is, Consumers for Advocacy.
I absolutely love Fig. He is amazing. Of course.
And then, of course, I have this one as well. I have 3 or 4 of his. So here's another one that I have of his as well. So, these are the things that I'll wear out. If I'm meeting with my legislators one-on-one, I won't. If I go to rallies, I'll wear these. But that, right now, Oregon is facing a flavor ban here in a couple weeks. It's coming up for vote. And I want Stop a Flavor Ban shirt because, it's imperative for me. I could not go back because I vaped. I smoked over 30 years menthol. I couldn't imagine going back. Just the thought of vaping menthol, and I've tried a couple, makes me sick. You want a cigarette, actually. I mean, my husband smoked, Marlboros. I'd make him shower and brush his teeth before he could come to bed. It would make me so sick. I mean, if, my raspberry cookie or my, nectar pear went away, I would be pretty lost. I mean, it was the flavors that really clicked for me.
And Jen, I think if this went away, you'd be upset too.
Yeah, I have 4 bottles in here, but I went, I had vaped so much of it. I got so much in for review that I needed to do some other ones. But, Fig's, all his, and the nice thing with when you buy from Fig's site, and I don't have his link up, but I will put it in the comment section after the show. Depending on what state you purchase it from, and if your state has an advocacy group, he takes a percentage of any purchase you make and sends it to your particular state's advocacy group if they belong. So Oregon VTA does belong. So a portion of anything that I purchase from his site will go to that and help fund it. And every single month, Fig writes a check, even if it's for 50 cents. He's writing a check for 50 cents every month.
Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find.
Thank you very much, Vape Tithing. I knew it was something like that. I've given you all these links before, so yeah.
Oh, and they're even talking to the flavor ban now in Canada.
Yeah, Lori. I mean, it's frustrating. But I want to ask, even Matt, I mean, you probably smoked when you were a kid. I know I did. I started when I was 13. I smoked my parents' cigarettes.
Yeah, I started at 8 years old.
Both
and I
of
was
my parents smoked.
grabbing cigarettes out of my grandfather's pack when he wasn't looking, and I was actually inhaling the whole cigarette, like actually smoking at 8 years old. And I did that on and off. By the time I was 12 years old, I was smoking a pack a day. And I would go so far as to this was how fucked I was in the head. So I would go around with a clipboard and this homemade chart on it. And I would stand by gas stations going up to people and asking them, hey, you buy me a pack of smokes if I give you the money. And I'm in fucking hell. I'm in like 5th grade doing this. And if they said no, I'd say, oh, well, thank you very much. I'm doing a survey for my school to find out if anyone would buy a kid cigarettes. And if they said yes, I would be like, thank you. Here's the money. Go buy me a pack.
Oh, and my goodness. That is really screwed up. But that was smart.
It was insane. Like, I was literally conning people to buy me packs of cigarettes until I found a place that sold underage. They didn't care. They charged $10 a pack at the time. Even when it was, I'm sorry, no, they charged $7 a pack back when it was like $4 a pack. So, I would be doing that. So by the time I was like 16, 17, 18, I was like almost at 2.5 packs a day. Wow. By the time I was 21, I was smoking 3 packs a day. Yeah,
I was 2.5 packs a day, menthol 100s.
And fuck all y'all, I live in New York and I was smoking 3 packs a day. So imagine how much that was.
Okay, when we left in 96, I think it was almost $2 a pack when we left New York for the cheapest ones.
Yeah, no. I was smoking 3 packs a day back in like 2012, 2011.
Oh my goodness.
Taxes were terrible then. Yeah.
You were looking at $9, $10, $11 a pack.
Yeah, because the cheapest ones I can remember when I quit was like $4.60. That was Mavericks.
What are they now in New York a pack?
They're averaging around anywhere between $10, $11 a pack out by me, and they're about anywhere between like 16 to 20 in the city.
Wow.
Because
like if you go buy a pack of cigarettes like in front of Penn Station, you're paying almost $20 a pack.
So in a way, in New York, oh my goodness, it is so much cheaper to vape in New York compared to everywhere else.
Well, not if they put a fucking 25 cents per mil tax on it.
Well, yeah.
Now I'm looking at that bottle being, $40.
Man, I should start selling cigarettes on the black market here because it's only like $6 a pack here.
Now, here's an interesting point too. So where I live on Long Island, I live in Suffolk County. Right. We have 2 reservations in Suffolk County.
Right.
We have the Poospatuck Reservation over down by Mastic, and then we have the Shinnecock Reservation over down by the Hamptons.
Right.
So you can just go down there, take that hour-and-a-half drive, give or take, if even, because the island's only about 118 miles long. Go there and buy a carton for like $60. So, and that's like name brand stuff. You can buy their brands for like 20.
Right.
And that's what my grandpa does, and it's crazy. I've tried getting him to quit so many different ways. I must have given him like 20 devices, regular Nick, salt Nick, high wattage, low wattage, fucking mouth to lung, pod systems, whatever you name it. I've tried to give it to him, and he just refused to. And I kind of want to be like, do you know who I am?
I know.
Do you know that people like look at me and know that I'm like a vaping advocate, and I can't even get my grandfather to quit smoking?
That's how I felt. I started December 3rd, 2013. And so I just passed my 5-year 1+ month, my husband just celebrated 1 year. And here I am going to all these events. My husband's smoking and I'm going to vaping events, and he's driving me to some of them and he's smoking. And I'm going, this looks so terrible, and he was doing that, getting pneumonia and bronchitis. We got sick when we got back from vacation, and he came up to me and he goes, I hate to say this, but this is the best cold sickness I've ever had in my life. I didn't get bronchitis for the first time ever. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a weird thing to say, that you feel best for the first time getting sick, but cool. But it's true. And, but I know what you're saying, Matt. It's like so frustrating that, you're an advocate and you're doing all this, and then you have somebody you can't convert. It's kind of like when my father-in-law passed. I wish I had known about this so much sooner. Maybe I could have given him more life.
Right.
Bruce actually just said that he can get a carton of Rollies on the reservation for $12.
Yeah, I remember that. Even though it was cheap at that time when I was smoking in New York, it seemed expensive at the time. Gas was 99 cents a gallon, though. God, I'm really dating myself tonight.
You really are. Like, damn. Here's the final nail in the coffin, if you would call it. I was born in 91. I am 27 years old.
Okay, my daughter is older than you.
I was born in 81. I'm 38 years old.
I'm going to be 49 this year. Shut up.
Hey, only a year and change to 50.
Thanks, Matt. I so appreciate
and Matt,
that.
You know what they say about 50. Once you hit 50, you're at the peak. It's all downhill from there.
I know. I'm a red hat lady then. Thanks, people. Love you all to pieces. Boy. Help me out here, Bruce. I know you're in my age group.
Well, Jen, that's what happens when you get in a room of someone 10 years younger and then someone 20 years younger.
I mean, shit, I think my mom's like 40. What is she? She's like, I think 43 now or something like that.
Thanks, Matt. Keep going. You really are digging it in for me tonight, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And my grandparents are in like their 60s and maybe early 70s. Oh, so you're still younger than them.
Okay, great. I'm old enough to be your grandmother then. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, not by much, but
Oh, so gone now, really bad. But I think, though, I mean, what we're trying to do with having Matt on, actually, Lori, yeah, about this chewing snuff and stuff, there's actually a company, I'll have to research it. And if you want to friend me on Facebook, there's a company, this sounds really probably stupid, but there was that program where you can be an entrepreneur and somebody can invest. What is that thing called? Oh, Shark Tank. And there was a company and they did it through coffee grounds for people that chew. And it comes in little packets. And I've actually seen them on the market here in my area. And so it still tastes like it, but it's not snuff. So if you want, I can look it up because I've written it down somewhere and they are for sale. I'm not sure because did you say you were in Canada?
Yeah, she's in Canada.
Yeah, so maybe I can find it and you might be able to research it, but that might be something that could work. Because I have turned a few people onto that. Amen. Hallelujah, Bruce. My kids are out of the house. They're gone, grown up. Yep. I had them young. So.
Oh, so, heck yeah. No. Life don't start at 40. I just want to have kids still at 38.
Ugh, I'm so glad I had them when I was young. They're gone, and now I can do what the hell I want.
I'm lucky. I don't have kids. I don't have a significant other. You know, I make the joke, and I did a semi-lyric thing on my Facebook not too long ago. I took some of the lyrics from Lil Wayne's "No Love," and I edited for the vape industry. Because it's true. I literally am married to the vape industry. I'm married to advocacy. I'm married to Legion. Like, that takes up all of my time. Like, there is no room for anything else. If it's not work, it's all of that. Like, even when I go to vape shops. So my local vape shop, Juicebox Vape Shop, I go to. And I feel so bad for Joe, the owner, who's one of my friends, and for Tommy, who's his employee. Just the two of them in there. It seems like whenever I walk in, I always have like bad news. I pay attention to everything, and I'll walk in and I'll be like, well, did y'all hear about that 25 cents per mil tax they're trying to pass? And they just go, what?
Yep.
And it's always like when they've already had a shitty day and then they just see my car pull up and they're like, is this going to be good news or is this going to be bad news?
Bad news, yeah.
And the customers that are there, like if I get, and they've learned by now. So like certain days, if I go down there when I know like Tommy's working and me and him will bullshit for a little bit.
Right.
And there's going to be like 5 or 6 customers in there when I walk in. And they all just go, all right, so what's new in the vape industry? And I'll be like, all right, boys.
Here we go.
Strap in, because I got some good shit.
Yeah.
So, like, the other day I walked in, and I literally just educated everyone on the MSA, Big Pharma, the IQOS, Altria, Juul, flavor bans, taxation, and all of that in a matter of, like, less than an hour.
Yep.
So like they were just like, what do we do? And I go, all right, well, first off, if y'all have not yet joined CASA, join CASA for the consumers. Y'all don't own businesses in the vape industry, so you don't have to worry about the other ones. But what you can do, call your representatives, call your legislators, let them know you are a vapor, you are a voter. Oh, you mean like all the stuff? Yes, all the stuff that comes out. Absolutely. But you need to do this weekly. It doesn't matter if there's legislation on the table for it. You have to make sure they know. So every time that there is something that pops up, those staffers are looking at that phone going, oh, it's about to start.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's certain ones, especially Secretary of State Dennis Richardson, which I'm very good friends with. I helped with his campaign. He'll be like, what's happening, Jen? It's just like, Dennis, it's coming. And he's like, what now? And it's the same thing. Do you have it, because I know you're a lot more popular than we are, but when you're an advocate and you're out there actively in the shops because
shops hate me.
I know they do.
Shops,
it's like
shops
I
hate
walk
me.
up
I'm
to
like
them
almost
and
I'm almost blacklisted from like all the shops on Long Island.
they're like, what's happening now, Jen? And I'm like, okay, 85% wholesale tax. Okay, all we have left now, they're like, flavor ban. And by the way, they did it as an emergency bill, so it'll be 90 days. What? And they're like, what? And I'm just like, well, and then like you said, but it's funny because I'll go to my husband and he's like, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going up to the shop to get coils. And he goes, am I going to have dinner tonight? Because he knows it's never just going to the shop to pick up coils. It's like going to be a couple hours before I return home because I never just go in to have,
see, that's
pick up
the
coils and
difference.
walk out.
That's the difference between where I live and where you guys live. Where I live, I'm going to be frank with you. None of our shops down here are worth anything.
Don't say that. Don't say that, though.
No, don't undermine them.
Let me explain.
No, fuck not undermining them. You got to understand. Even gas stations.
I walk in there and I say, okay, I need 316 stainless steel wire. It's now 316 has became a staple in the industry.
No, it's not. 316 is something hobbyists and advanced users use. You walk into a shop, you're getting fucking smock coils and a goddamn light up tank.
Let me explain. All this shop has is rebuildables. They don't have anything. So it is a hobbyist shop. They have no stainless. They have no can-thaw. All they had was nichrome. And I'm like, really?
And that's what you're judging shops off of?
Then on top of that, I ask them about what's going on with some of the liquids, what's going on with this, what's going on with that. Nothing but trademark infringement liquids.
Okay.
I mean, I've even said stuff to their owner, and their owner's like, well, that's all we're selling, so that's all we're keeping. And I'm like, well, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, you could die. If you want to be the skid mark of this industry, then that's fine.
All right, so
I was blunt with them. I don't sugarcoat shit with anybody.
Well, see, in my area, Eugene Springfield for Oregon is second to Portland as the largest city area. So we have about 15 large only catering to vapor shops. I'm saying there are smoke shops that have both. And then, of course, our C-stores. So we have one that I won't patronize, and that is only because we know, and I don't know what would you do in this situation. They will knowingly sell to underage and do a lot of that, but I don't go there because of that. I won't spend my money there because they have that nonchalant view. They don't care. Unfortunately, but in Rob's situation, that seems like it's all of them. But in me, that's just one out of the multitude of shops that we have here.
In the whole town, in the whole Charleston metro area, mind you, that's a 50-minute drive every way. We have 4 shops.
Oh, wow.
4 shops in a 50-minute drive circle.
Yeah, I got about like 30 in a 50-minute drive.
The closest to me is about 20 minutes from where I live currently. And mind you, I'm only 10 minutes outside of our capital city. And I have to drive 20 minutes to get to the closest vape shop. None of them there was only one that wanted to do anything with advocacy. And let me rephrase that. There is one decent one in the whole area. And that's the only one I go to, and it was or no, let me rephrase that too. I forgot about Sam's. I forgot about that one, which is in Nitro, but that's a 45-minute drive. And then the other one's about a 40-minute drive just to get to a decent shop that cares about advocacy and that will actually do something. The one was the president of our local organization, and she left the state, and now her son's in charge of it. I don't even know who's in charge of the West Virginia Vapors organization anymore. Then on top of that one, the other one, the vice president, he just basically gave up, but he has a very good shop down there in Nitro. But those are the only two that cater to the beginner smoker. Those are the only two. And I mean, back when I was looking for the you would think the Aspire Breeze coils would have been easy to find in the first 6-7 months of the Breeze being out. Because it was one of the bigger...
Those were some of the hardest coils to find.
Here,
yeah, they were.
Up in PA, they were easy.
Oh.
You call 3 shops, and you might find it in 2 of them. So about 2 out of every 3 would have it. Down here, I called 6 shops, only 1 had them. And I'm like, really? That is one of the biggest names in vaping. They didn't carry the smoke coils. And I'm like, you're not carrying them. What are you carrying for the beginner smoker?
I was going to say, so what do they carry?
Yeah. Are they doing Juul?
Basically, they carry Juul for the most part. And that was sad. Now they don't carry any of them. They're pretty much just going toward the hobbyist vapor. They're not trying to push to the beginner vapor. And that's where a lot of our vape shops are screwing up, because they're sending the beginner vapor to the crappy smoke shops because they think that's the only place that somebody's going to really want to buy a beginner setup.
Right. So my thoughts on that would be, there was a post made today in one of I don't remember if it was in one of the groups or on the wall of someone. They said they were in a group and they saw someone who's getting new into vaping, brand new to vaping, asking what a good box mod would be. And take a guess at some of the top answers.
Probably hexomes were up there.
No.
What?
Smoke products.
Smoke products.
Yep.
Or other 200-watt devices. Now,
I'm sorry, the only one of the smokes that I would push is if it had a baby beast. Because the baby beast can be a restrictive draw.
Right, but now here's the thing. Before you make a recommendation for something like that,
you got to know how they vape and things like that, and if they can handle
exactly.
it. Yeah.
No one asked those questions. See, when I was working at a shop, I learned and I trained my employees to ask a couple of fundamental questions. 1, are you a smoker or were you a smoker?
Mm-hmm. How much did you smoke?
If you were, how much did you smoke?
Mm-hmm.
I take it a step further. What caused you to smoke?
Yeah.
Yep.
Not what the reason you smoked was. What makes you smoke? Is it is it the hand to mouth? Is it the smoke? Is it the nicotine? Is it the draw? Is it, when do you do it and why do you do it? Because
for me, it's at the computer. When I'm gaming or at the computer and working, I'm constantly, and it's this motion. Because I think that when I'm doing this and I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
So that, and then have you ever tried a vapor product before? If so, what vapor product did you try? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Are you looking to use nicotine? Are you looking for no nicotine? Before you even recommend any type of device, these are the questions you need to ask.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not being done, and it pisses me off.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, did you hear... Have I told you the story of what I walked into one day at a vape shop up in PA, and I went, for lack of a better way to say it, I know I've told Jen this story, I went ape shit on the people that worked there.
I've done that before, too.
I walked in, I'm standing there waiting on some wire because if you remember, VCC 2015. I think that was the next to last one they did. It was either 2015 or 2016. I walk into the vape shop because I was making an RDA and I was getting one ready for a friend of mine that was going with me because they wanted to taste the flavors. And I'm like, really the only way at a convention to taste them is to use an RDA.
Right.
Because most of the tanks won't give you amazing flavor because they're being used all day. You could be jumping there and it's a coil that's brand new. So we're just going to make up an RDA and you and your wife can share that mod and use that RDA.
Right.
So, but they were brand new to vaping and I was not going to build them one of my builds. I'm sorry, I'm not building a 0.3 or a 0.2 for somebody that's brand new to vaping in an RDA. I was going to build them one up higher. So I had to go buy smaller wires so I could actually build that high. Well, they're like, okay, I walk in there. This girl is like, okay, yeah, I want that Noisy Cricket. She was recommended the Noisy Cricket by somebody. And she said, I want that TFV8.
Oh, God.
Okay, the first mistake is a hybrid mech mod like the Noisy Cricket.
Well, your first mistake is the Noisy Cricket.
Well, yeah.
Not
even the fact of it's a mech mod. It's a fucking Noisy Cricket. It's a bomb waiting to go off.
Yeah. The second mistake was the tank on top. I'm like, do you want them? And I said this to the guy flat out. I was like, you need to stop right now or else I am calling the owners. I don't know them, but I will call every single one of the vape shops that's connected to the same name, and I will find out who the owner is and have your ass fired tonight. I was like, and I've done that you're going to blow her up.
Yeah. I mean, and I walked into a similar situation, and I looked at the girl, it was a kid, and everybody's a kid. You guys are kids. Anyway, I looked at him and I said, you can go in that mech mod, but I am telling you, you're putting a bomb to your face.
All right, well, I wouldn't have gone that far.
You are. I mean, when you're putting in an unregulated device, a brand new vapor that doesn't know, and I've had it so many times when I was doing my intro into vaping show, I had so many people, I have this, and I don't know what coil goes in here. And I'd be like, okay, well, what's the build? And, and they're like, what do you mean, what's the build? I need a coil for it. And I'm like, well, it's an RDA. You have to build it. Well, no, I need to buy one. I'm like, no, you have to. I've only been vaping for 3 days. And I'm like,
right, but all right, so a lot of the time we get caught up with everything and we don't realize that people don't know, and that's okay. Yeah. However, telling them that they have a bomb to their face is not the right answer.
Sometimes it gets out of I know. But
think about it this way. You just told this person you have a bomb to your face. What is their impression of vaping right now?
I get what you're saying.
It's dangerous. Or what happens now if they go, yeah, well, I was going to try this whole vaping thing, to one of their friends or someone. And they go, but this woman came up to me and said I had a bomb to my face. Regardless of how you finish that conversation.
It wasn't the first thing, but it's what frustrates, it's the same shop that's selling to minors and we know it, and they don't care. It was the first time I had been in there. But what I was trying to depict to people is that this thing can be dangerous. We've seen them. I accidentally discharged one. It was my fault. I did not turn off my device. Tossed it in my purse. I was in a hurry. After dinner, made dinner, ate dinner, went to look for my device. and it was firing in my purse. We had to take it out with other mints, and it discharged outside of my back. We got it outside just in time, and it discharged. And I'm like, this, my grandchild.
It can happen.
And I'm like, this is not cool. We're putting, and this was years ago that it happened. And thank goodness we have a lot of, I mean, even Hexome used to be unregulated. Now it's got protections in it and has been for a while. I just think, in those situations, I don't know. I mean, this one shop is still in business, and I just go, we have all the regs, like you said, nobody's holding them accountable for it, where we have either the rules or the laws in place, and they're just blatantly doing it. How do we stop some of those that are making it bad for us? Because those are the ones that end up in the news.
Word of mouth.
Not good that it does.
That's how, honestly, some of the shops here, I've seen some change since I've been talking to people. And I tell people, look, these liquids are not good for us. And then I've actually been standing in some, and they'd actually be like, oh, wow. You guys don't have anything that looks bad. In the two that I was telling that are decent shops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would hear people, they know nothing about that. Here I am in the local area talking about this to people, and it's getting out word of mouth. They're like, yeah, I heard you guys have some of the few decent liquids, and yeah, you guys don't have any that look bad.
Right.
So, and and I was like, yeah, these are two of the few that I actually came out and said, this is one of the few that I actually support, because these liquids don't look bad on our industry. They don't look bad on me as a 30-year-old going out and buying this. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's a cereal vape. It's a Fruit Loop vape, but it doesn't have to have the Fruit Loops on it. It has a freaking anvil and a hammer on it, and it's called Blacksmith.
Right.
I mean, it's a simple liquid.
So I did a post the other day. I help out a shop, like I said, Juice Box Vape Shop. They were the shop that I was down in Virginia for before I got unceremoniously removed by. Anyway, so I did a post, saying, "Hey, looking for new companies for a local shop. Child appealing labels and non-compliant companies do not apply." And let me tell you, the amount of great companies that hit me up and sent samples to that shop, companies that care about advocacy, companies that have been doing it the right way, and everyone, who's tried them goes, holy crap, that's amazing. I'm like, yeah, and look at the branding. It's clean. Look at ADV, for instance. John Nathan and Steven Sapir, like, that is damn good stuff. And it is clean branded.
Right.
I mean, granted, do I think food should be on labels? No. In fact, my company, we removed any food that was on labels. We removed a waffle and the look, of it being like a plate of food. We removed the cakes from our Cake Master line. We got rid of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So do I believe food should be on labels? No. Do I think it's the worst thing? No.
See, nectar, this is one of my husband's favorite. I like it too, but it's got the pear on it.
Is that the stuff that's made with TFN?
Yes.
I loved his look there. He's like, oh.
Sorry, I
have so many issues with TFN. It's not even funny.
Okay, well, here's lava flow.
There we go.
It's this. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was next. He picked that one up. I didn't. But this one,
it's just the idea of synthetic nicotine. That's like, I'm sure anyone remembers the synthetic THC. Like,
yes, I do.
Y'all remember the spice and the K2 and all that stuff. whenever I hear about anything that you can naturally get now being made synthetically, it just kind of makes me feel like, ugh.
I've tried a couple of the TFNs. There's one done by I'm brain farting. Sorry. But I've had a couple, and I do like the one in neck, because I don't taste the nicotine. Because I've had so many of the bad ones, but ones that have the terrible nicotine flavor that makes it really sicky sweet.
Sicky
Anyway,
sweet nicotine flavor. I don't know what type of nicotine you're getting. Everything I get when it's bad nicotine is peppery and bitter.
Sometimes, but if it's I'm a real big, I love strawberry, and sometimes it'll mix with that strawberry, and for me and my taste, and a lot of people,
is subjective. Everyone has their own taste.
Right. Right. And because of my chemo drugs and stuff that I have to take, my tastes are off a little bit. So it makes it makes that strawberry taste really weird to me. So when I tried a couple, and I've only had 2 or 3. Oh, it's the one that does Space Rocks.
Lost Art?
Thank you. They have that.
Sold out to Big Tobacco?
Yes, I know. That's why I don't buy it anymore. But they
that also had cartoons and candy and all that shit on the labels.
That was years ago that I was vaping that. That was like for when I was very beginning vaping. But they had made one, and it was with TFN. It was Strawberry Strike, and that was the very first one. And I was actually pretty impressed that I didn't have any nicotine flavor, but I was still in higher nicotine levels at that point. So now that I'm down to 3, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, my only one that even was questionable that I would never touch again, even though it's not even really questionable, except for the name of it, was Unicorn Milk by Cutwood.
And let me tell you that thing about unicorn milk. Once they got rid of the diacetyl, it tasted like shit.
But I'll tell you this much. I figure you tried Drama Queen.
Yes.
That was my replacement for unicorn milk.
Well, once they took out the diacetyl, it was very similar to it. See, that's the problem. You know, back in the day when I worked at a shop and we had the whole Suicide Bunny line in too, we used to have people going ape shit over mother's milk this, mother's milk that. Oh my God, I can't get enough mother's milk. Well, I was working at the shop when the whole diacetyl thing first popped up and Pip got accused of using X amount diacetyl and that independent lab and all that bullshit happened. So, a couple batches later, we get a whole thing about our products no longer contain diacetyl, et cetera, et cetera. When I tell you I could not move a goddamn bottle to save my life because they all complained and said it tasted like shit. Listen, popcorn lung is a goddamn myth and a goddamn media fucking term that was created for something that has only happened less than 5 times. Less than 5 times.
2 or 3 documented cases.
Right, which is why I use less than 5 times, because some stuff might not have been documented or whatever. Right. But it was only from motherfuckers working in a goddamn popcorn factory breathing in the direct fucking chemical for goddamn 20 years. There has never been a report of popcorn lung from vaping. So, right. God damn it, the diacetyl made the shit taste good.
You know, isn't it funny that the stuff that tastes so freaking good is so freaking bad for us, no matter where it is? But what is it
for us? Let me tell you something. The amount of diacetyl in a goddamn cigarette is over 100 times the amount that was ever found in any vape product.
But what I was saying was that, but a doctor will tell you everything's fine in moderation. You know, you can have steak and red meat as long as it's in moderation.
Hey, fuck that shit. I was on fucking keto. I dropped goddamn 45 pounds. And all I did was eat steak every single fucking day, every night. I ate steak, bacon, lobster, eggs, cheese, avocados, burgers without buns. fucking meat was good.
I'll tell you right now.
So fuck that moderation bullshit.
I go, when it comes to diacetyl, these two are probably loaded.
Hold on, let me take a quick look at that. Make sure I'm not using any of those in any of my e-liquids. Nah, we good.
I'm just saying they probably are. Both of these are probably loaded because one's a custard and one's a cake. And they taste good.
I don't know. It's kind of like, you can take any fact and figure and flip it any which way you want, kind of like with the youth epidemic. Well, I do believe that youth do it, but, they're still not looking that youth are still smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Now that whole issue is completely not even being addressed. But it's terrible to vape.
Mm-hmm.
If it was my teenage son, which it was, and he was smoking, being a parent, I would have rather him vape, to be honest.
Well, the problem is with people, as us being people in the industry, we can't say that.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. In my own home, I would have, because I remember before we moved into this home, we smoked through the whole house. And taking those pictures off the wall, my husband being a pack and a half a day, me being 2.5 packs a day, those walls were pretty freaking disgusting from all the smoking we did.
Well, the one says it doesn't, it just says it contains sugar. So, which that's a given.
Oh, I want to ask you, Matt, your opinion on this.
Absolutely.
All the labeling and stuff, and you dealing with liquids and things. I'm a diabetic. I'm a type 1 diabetic. And
Okay.
a lot of that do have a lot of sugar do tend to affect a little bit on my numbers.
Okay.
How come don't label if there's sugar on there, especially for someone like me where it does affect it?
That's a good question. That because you know what it is, people haven't really thought about that.
Well, I think,
and if you're using something that has that much sugar in it,
I vape a lot.
Right, but so the average person that's going to be vaping, they're not going to be going through enough that should change anything. I mean, granted, I'm not a doctor on about this in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
I am not an expert on this in any way, shape, or form. At my worst, I shouldn't say at my worst. At the most that I was ever vaping when I was at VapeWorks, fucking over 12 hours a day. Well over 12. I was at VapeWorks almost 15 hours a day. I could kill a 60 mil in a day.
I can do that easy, yeah.
I think, again, in moderation, you are not supposed to be going through a 60 mil a day, because the average vapor is not going to do that. But that's a very interesting point. I might have to talk to some people about that, get their input on that, about having warning labels about sugar and stuff like that.
Because I mean, the only thing I could personally see, being a mixer myself and being a former line owner, is the simple fact that if your line, certain flavors that you get automatically have sugar added, like that yellow cake. So, say for instance, you're doing a birthday cake and you're using a yellow cake and a sweet cream.
Which, for the record, don't use yellow cake for birthday cake. It tastes like shit.
I know. I'm just using that as an example.
I'm just saying. I tried it. It tastes like shit.
But where it already has the sugar added, that could be part of the issue too. Because unless you're going in and looking at every single flavor, you can't pick out, okay, this one has extra
saying
sugar.
Just in general, because I know that there are companies that have no sugars in their.
Well, I doubt that's a thing, because most of the concentrates do have some type of sweetener in any way, shape, or form. I don't mean like a sucrose or like a super sweet or anything like that. But the actual concentrate itself, I'm sure, has some type of sweetener to it.
Right, but I'm saying if they add like a sweetener. You know what I'm saying? That if it could be on there, why can't we? So that I can say, well, I really don't want to get one that has a sweetener, because it does for me, since I'm so hypersensitive based on my health issues. I even ask in the shop and they're like, we don't know. And even if I research it on a website, I can't find it.
Well, that's where a lot
phone calls.
In my opinion, that right there is a place that, you know, Smiley used to shine. Because you can ask Matt this. Smiley, you could use Smiley for weeks and it not gunk up your coils. Because he had
I never vaped it for weeks. I can't attest to that. But
days.
Yeah, it definitely didn't gunk up coils, except sometimes change a different color depending on which one it was.
Right. Like his morning espresso.
Right. Well, that I get. But I mean, I'll know if it has sweetener in it based on my coil. Definitely.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know ahead of time, because sometimes, and I'm not saying it's a huge difference, I'm just saying it does make a difference. And if someone like myself that's got, you know, I'm going through chemo, so I'm hypersensitive all the time. And sometimes based on what I eat and everything else, I have to adjust my insulin all the time. It can get kind of tricky sometimes. I know it sounds stupid probably, but I'm just wondering, because you're in there. You know what I mean?
That's a good question. Might want to ask the companies that you're vaping.
Yeah.
That would be my best bet. You know, ask the companies that you vape, you know, hey, what do you think about this? You know?
Yeah.
And with everything being so new, especially, you know, with the FDA, which, you know, the FDA has no idea what the fuck they're doing. They don't.
No, they don't.
They're trying to do fucking testing for shit they don't even have standards for.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they got all these companies, including my own, fucking scurrying around, freaking out about this testing that's going to cost fucking millions of dollars. Yeah. And there's not even standards for goddamn manufacturing.
And I don't believe that's right for you guys.
So, like, you know, it really makes no sense, you know, and that should be, you know, maybe one of the standards. Right. If you use sweetener, you have to list that you use sweetener. If you use, you know, a peanut, you have to list that you use a peanut thing. You know what I mean? Because, like, so depending on the company, like, I'm going to give you all a good example. Back at one of the expos in Foxwoods, we had a shop that was very interested in carrying our line, and we were going through, you know, oh, you got to try this, try this, try this. Well, one of the girls there, you know, she said, oh, I'd love to try this. It was our, I want to say it was our Cremora or Aurora, but she was allergic to strawberries.
Ah.
And so, and I went, you know what? I usually go by the rule of thumb. If you're allergic to something, you probably shouldn't vape it.
Right.
But I was curious. So I'm sorry, I just got corrected. It was Smarties. She was allergic to pineapple, which is another common allergy.
Yeah.
So luckily enough, it just so happened that one of the flavoring concentrate companies were there.
Sweet.
So I actually ran over to their booth and was like, hey, I know this is a very weird question, but I have a customer that really wants to try this flavor, and they're allergic to pineapple. And, you know, the rep looked at me and said, well, we don't use real pineapple juice in this. So it shouldn't cause a allergic reaction. And I went, shouldn't? Because I was a little, you know, when you say shouldn't, there's a lot of things that shouldn't happen that do. Yeah. He said, we've had these concerns before, and the people have tried it, and there was no effect. So I said, okay, good enough for me. So I ran back over and I said, hey, good news. My flavor concentrate guy just said you're in the clear, and she tried it and she loved it.
Yeah.
But because she can't eat pineapple, this was like an overwhelming experience for her to taste what pineapple is.
That's awesome. I didn't think of it as And you're right, because I know that also in some of the manufacturings, depending on who your bottlers are, some of them don't necessarily completely clean out the systems. So if you have somebody that is like got a peanut allergy, that
Listen,
could be
if there's any manufacturers that don't clean out their systems before they make a new
I know.
batch, that again,
know that-
this goes back to there is no standard for e-liquid manufacturing. You can be ISO, you could be pharma, you could be all this. There is no standard.
Yeah.
And there is no penalty for doing it the wrong way either.
Oh, yes. Rob will tell you. One of my antihistamines, what was this, 5 months ago, that I got the letter from the manufacturer saying they accidentally, and I couldn't understand, my husband could not understand why I kept falling asleep all the time. They had accidentally, in my antihistamine, when they were filling it, the manufacturers put in a blood pressure medication by accident into the bottles to the pharmacies. And I already take 2 blood pressure medications. So my blood pressure was dropping.
So, and that just proves to show that even Big Pharma fucks up.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my pharmacy calling me. I had my insurance company calling me. I had the corporation. I mean, they were all sending me letters going, don't take this. And I had already been taking it. My husband was like, well, that explains why you kept falling asleep all the damn time. My blood pressure was plummeting.
So again, we don't have standards for manufacturing, and even places that have standards, it can fuck up.
And see, that's why I back the batches. Same as, we were talking about earlier when it came to standards. That's why I've always told people, I back us having batch numbers. Because we have no way, for a lot of liquids, there is no way of tracking what group and when, because we have no way of recalling.
Right.
There's a batch number on this one.
So that's one of the things that I implemented with Strong Island Vapes was back when we were talking about changing the labels, and more so me saying we are changing the labels or I'm quitting.
That's one way to do it.
I mean, there was no standard for labels.
Yeah.
But me being part of Legion, I can't be a part of a company that has some fucked shit on the label. It doesn't work that way. I have to set an example. So I said, you know what? Make room for batch numbers and born dates. And they went, huh? And I said, yeah. Well, how do we do a batch number? I said, all right, well, we make flavor A. So we use concentrate A, B, C, and D. So now we take the batch number of each of those concentrates, record them, the amount, the date that we got it in, and all that, and then we create our batch number off of that so we can backtrack it and find out where a problem happened.
Yeah, like, I'm going to use a perfect example of one that did it wrong. I'm going to cover the name of the company because I am not a big fan of them, especially after what they just recently did.
Oh, I know who it is.
Drop him. Fuck it. Drop it. What are you doing?
BLVK.
Oh, I've dropped them multiple times. I've talked about them.
It's BLVK.
It's BLVK.
Don't fucking. Oh, I'm not going to show that. Fuck that shit.
But
it's
look at
BLVK.
that. No batch number whatsoever.
Are you sure there's no batch number on there?
Yeah.
No, there's not.
A lot of times under the barcode, sometimes the batch number is there.
There is nothing under that barcode.
All right. Well, fuck them then.
Especially after what they're doing now.
Yeah, after what they did. Did you see the milk one that somebody posted?
Did I see the milk one? Really?
True.
Look at the people that were commenting on it.
True. I couldn't find it again, so I had to go
see everything. Even though I don't always comment on it, I see it. You know why? Because if I don't see it with my guys, if I don't see it through the guys. I got other people PMing me shit.
To you.
Like, Jesus Christ, when shit happens and I literally have 5 people that I don't talk to. Like, it's not that I don't like them or anything. It's just I don't talk to them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But when I got people that I don't talk to hitting me up, dropping the same image or the same post or the same screenshot, I kind of just go, yeah, I got it.
I'll be honest, I've done that a few times.
Yes, you have. And I went, yup, already know about it.
And I mean, we don't talk a lot, but I mean, we still talk some. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send it to Matt. Make sure I always send it to 2 people if I don't post it in our little chat
Lord,
that you and I, that we all have.
Like,
I always send it to you and Tristan, and then Jen.
And I'm like, right before, in like 2 hours before show, and he's sending me stuff about something we're going to talk about tomorrow night. I'm like, dude, I know exactly what it is. Why are you freaking out?
I wasn't freaking out. Dude. I wanted to know what was going on.
Dude.
Because everybody else was freaking out, and I was like, I bet you it's not as bad as everybody thinks.
Uh-huh. And what did I say?
Oh, yeah. And it was that issue in the Texas issue that started the conversation. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow night when I get off work at 1 a.m. Yeah, just so everybody knows, tomorrow night, Legion is doing their show at 11 probably, because I know.
Yeah, apparently, according to Tristan's comment. No, apparently to Tristan's comment, we're doing a show. I usually ask, around like 8, are we doing a show tonight? And it's usually, all right, we're doing a show. I see Tristan go, all right, at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess we're doing a show. Fuck. It's a good thing I didn't make plans. I'm just going to be driving around to local vape shops out here with my friends, dropping off our packets that were created for basically listing your name, your flavor, the year you smoked, how long you've been smoke free, your where you're from, so we can get the district members to make a whole list. And then we have the cassette letter that we want people to fill out, and then we have stuff for the shops too.
You also have voter registration pamphlets.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, let me tell you, trying to get fucking people to vote is worse than trying to get them to fucking advocate.
Well, again, I hate to say it, but it's also the age of not the active people, but the
Cuomo is trying to drop the age of voting.
Oh, well, don't even go to what's going on here in Oregon in the voter.
Cuomo's trying to drop it down to 16.
What?
Do you know what's happening in Oregon? Oh, it's already happened in Oregon.
That makes no freaking sense.
Federally, it's not
the same people that are sniffing Tide Pods or eating condoms or... Wait, reverse that. The people that are sniffing condoms and eating Tide Pods are the ones that they want voting? Oh, fuck no.
Well, you know why? Well, see, what's going on here is that we...
What up, Matthew? I see you.
We have vote by mail. So what happens, and also here, what they passed the law that when you go and get your driver's license, you are automatically registered to vote. So, but our system here cannot fetter out if you're 16 to 18. So in the last 3 elections that this has been legal, 16-year-olds have gotten voter pamphlets because it's all vote by mail. So we've had underage voting for the past 3 years. So that's why it's happening. It's happened here already. We have voter fraud rampant around here. It's absolutely crazy. But then again, Cuomo is allowing abortion up until the day a child can be born. I mean, it's nutty out here.
I ain't got a dog in that fight.
Just to remind,
I'm just saying in general.
What I was getting at though, 1 o'clock tomorrow night, or tomorrow morning. 1 o'clock Sunday morning. I get off the Eastern time, so probably about 1:30 I will get home. 1:45, so no later than 2 a.m. we will be hopping
dude,
on.
You're doing a show at 2 a.m.?
That's 11 o'clock my time. That's not that late Pacific.
I don't get off till 1 a.m., so I have to be able to get home.
So change the fucking date of the show. Jesus Christ.
No, because then Sunday we have another show.
Shit. It's called Shoot the Shit, and we do it late at night, and then we don't care.
And then the next day, I have a late night show at 10 o'clock that's a DIY show.
That's my late night show anyway for our West Coast people. So.
I love looking at Matt. He's like, oh,
Matt,
no.
What I'd like to talk about is that group. And it's a new vape. It's called VAEP. They are on Facebook, but I'm going to give you put up in the link description here their actual website. They've been out here for a few months. Our channel is supporting it, and it was started by a registered nurse, Kelly Ann. And
Kelly Ann, registered nurse.
We will be.
Where was it?
And the board are doctors and nurses within the industry. There are free videos, pamphlets, literature that you can print up straight off the website and use and hand out to people.
Who are they backed by?
I'm sorry?
Who are they backed by?
Nobody, themselves. They're backed by bottlers, shops, and things like that. Independents like us it's $25 a month membership. If you become a member, you get a whole packet of their information that you can print and hand out at your own pleasure. Fantastic group. I watched her for a little bit. I've actually spoke to her today. Wonderful woman. We'll have her on next weekend. This is what we needed, is people in the medical field starting to be here backing us, saying this is better. This is saving lives. I've been highly impressed. David Gorlitz is on board with them. A lot of the big people in the industry have really started to latch on to her and her mission. So we'll have her on next Friday night on the show. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, same here.
Really excited. I'm really impressed. And hopefully you guys, the Legion, she's really needing exposure now so that we can get them out. And in a very short period of time, she's gotten a lot of stuff together, and she's got more coming up. So she'll be on next weekend, next Friday night, to talk about that. I think it'll be great for us in the community.
I know Matt and Tristan will probably want to research her before they make any move.
I'm already doing that.
That's why I did this tonight, to give it to Matt to go right ahead. And I really hope so. I so far from what I've talked to her, what I've seen, I didn't jump whole head on first yet either. I wanted to see, and so far I'm pretty impressed.
Hey, all I'm saying is people thought Mark Block and EVCA were great.
That's what I knew was going on in your head. Was EVCA.
Well,
because I'll be honest with you, Steve donated to EVCA, and at the beginning I supported him. But then I saw more and more, and I was like, no.
Yep, I know. So
listen, you gotta be a certain kind of stupid to come on to our show when we already told you it ain't gonna be a fucking, you ain't gonna sell your shit here and try to sell your shit there and then freak out when we ask questions.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
Meltdown of the year.
But I mean, that's why I wanted to give it to you as well, Matt. So if I'm on, if I knew that if anybody, Legion would find out if there's something nefarious. But so far, especially after talking with David Gorlitz and stuff, I don't see it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
All I'm saying is look at what we're approaching, the 11th hour of the fight. And it just seems that there's a lot of people popping up out of the woodwork. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're good.
I know.
They could have the purest of intentions. I've also learned anyone that asks for money in the 11th hour and is showing a bunch of research that can be got for free with a little bit of digging, I have some concerns about.
I understand and I agree.
See, the thing I like, Matt, I'm going to tell you right now, one of the things I'm going to approach her next week about, because I already told Jenn this, and I figure she told her about it so that she could be ready for it, is, you know, one of the ways I think they can actually help is giving us ideas on better ways to approach physicians that are our own physicians, using the research in a way they will actually listen to. Because I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of doctors and a lot of nurses that don't want to listen to research. I've ran across this at my job, you know, because I work in a hospital, and I've had RNs that I've said, look, the research is out, and I give them all the research. And they're like, well, I'm not looking at research. I'm looking at this. We don't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, look, would you rather somebody have a 95% safer alternative, or would you rather they get over 7,000 chemicals after combustion going into their windpipe?
Well, you know what the answer to that is? No.
Neither.
Neither. They should be using patches and Nicorette and everything else that is pharma approved.
Because
here's the problem. Here's the problem. And I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be a little bit of a dick about this, but oh, well, what the fuck's new?
Hey, I mean, it's you. If you weren't one, and I want to say real quick, hey, Daniel, anytime you want to hop on one of our shows, just let me know, and you're more than welcome here. I'm sure Jenn would back me on that as well.
Yeah.
So I approached my doctor, or my old doctor, whatever. I don't go to doctors right now. Anyway, I approached my old doctor, who is a vapor, who used to send patients to my old vape shop to quit smoking. They would come in and say, the doctor sent me. And so he supports vaping 100%. Now, when Suffolk County had the original flavor ban hearing, I asked him to show up.
No, don't even say he didn't.
Well, one, he didn't, but he gave me his reasoning why. Vaping is not approved by the FDA.
Oh,
there is no positive statement with science from the FDA to back up vaping. So therefore, any doctor that supports vaping openly loses all credibility for any other bit of research, any other studies that they did. That's the reality. So you're not going to have doctors openly speak about vaping because they could possibly lose their license. They would lose anything that they ever wrote, and their name would be shit in the medical world. So you're not going to have doctors openly talk about vaping. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know, I understand, and it fucking sucks. He's like, I wish I could. But until a study is done that shows everything that everything else is showing, conducted by the FDA, and they say, okay, vaping is harm reduction, our hands are tied.
Mm-hmm. And you know what we're in? It reminds me, I wasn't back this far, but the 50s and 60s, we had the UK screaming at the top of their lungs that combustible cigarette was connected to cancer. And the US was going, oh, no, it's not. And that was coming
20 years later, then the fucking whole thing happened. Yeah. So the fact that the Royal College of Physicians is saying
again. It's the same thing all over again. And so we're doing it again. Well, and they're ahead of us.
Well, you also got to look at it this way.
It's money.
Right. What does the UK have?
Different government.
What does the UK have that America does not have?
Socialized healthcare.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is in their best interest to keep their citizens healthy.
True, because the secret, it draws on the whole thing.
What does America have?
Crap!
Commercial health care.
Where it pays
to be sick.
Mm-hmm.
To keep your patients sick, so the insurance companies and them can make the most money.
Yep, and the doctors get kickbacks.
And then the government also, No, I'm not going to say that because I want to make sure if I say something that I can actually give it to you. So I'm not going to say what I know what I've heard, but I'm not going to say it because I haven't seen the actual written proof. So,
What?
No, trust me, I'm watching myself because I don't want a certain issue to happen.
I know.
What?
I don't want
to poke the mess that we
don't want to poke the bear. I'll tell you quietly. Something when it comes to saying something and then maybe being a microsecond off and it being stretched.
You know what? I don't give a shit about that channel anymore. Yeah. Just fucking do
I'll just say it. The thing is, from what I have heard, I'll say it that way. From what I have heard now, it used to be before Obamacare that hospitals could write off Medicare losses. Now they can't. So some of the cost is costing the hospitals, but it's not costing the federal government. That's the key.
I don't get why that was such a issue.
Because that's just what I've heard. I haven't actually found that in Obamacare.
Hey, here's something. Go suck a dick and get a life. Stop jerking off to your murderers behind you.
He knows exactly now.
Why are you still entertaining that?
Oh God.
I told you I'm done dealing with it, so I don't care anymore.
Yeah, true. I was trying to stay out of it and not say anything.
But you brought it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta stop.
I don't even think I have shit at the bottom of my shoe that would be equivalent to that. Jesus fucking Christ.
That's why I love having you on, because you are so unfiltered.
I need a
seriously. Listen, states are facing flavor bans and fucking taxation up the ass. We have the ants marching all over us, and you're worried about a little fucktard? Come on!
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I understand. And but I think that's part of the reason too, because the federal government doesn't feel any of it. Because now they can't write it off. I would not doubt if that's part of it. That's what I was getting at. You get what I'm saying, Matt?
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it boils all down to money.
Yeah.
Who's getting it and who's not, and who's benefiting most out of people being sick? Pharmaceuticals and doctors.
Yeah.
Hospitals. They all do. And
I went ahead and showed that one.
I know I did too at the same time. No, you're right.
Fucking hell. Tiptoeing through the fucking tulips right now. Come on!
I know. It's just that I'm not going to make excuses. We're not making excuses anymore. We're done. So I don't care what he says. He is trash to everybody. He's no credit. Who cares anymore? We're done.
I would literally stand up and flop my fucking cock out and be like, here you go! Except he might like that. Jesus fuck.
Man, you're gonna...
I think we're gonna have to put this 21 plus. Oh God.
No, I'm not putting it 21 plus.
Oh man, I have a kidney stone and it hurts to laugh, but it's so good to laugh. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. I needed it. You're right. I mean, we can't worry about that anymore. We have too much to worry about. We have too much breathing down our necks. We have
exactly. And I mean, we've got so much coming federal. I mean, look at what we have coming. I mean, I'm sure you'll agree with me, Matt. We have a flavor ban possibly coming to the Senate again this year.
It'll be the House that'll decide it. I don't think the Senate will.
Same thing I can fucking say to that. Fuck you, Dick Durbin.
Oh, I know.
I think we have a flavor ban coming to the Senate. I don't think it'll pass the Senate. It'll pass the House, but won't pass the Senate.
And I don't think the president would sign that.
I don't know.
Really don't. No. If he's going to legalize, I think he's going to legalize marijuana. I don't think he'd sign that.
Now, here's the thing. So, this all goes back to the MSA. This all goes back to the MSA.
I know.
Because this affects almost every state and county out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's something no one talks about. It's something that fucking the media won't talk about. It's something that the fucking politicians deny. It's like the fucking country's one of their biggest conspiracies.
Yep.
And the fact that I'm talking about it, I'll probably have someone fucking knocking on my door with a goddamn silencer. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They're using marijuana to try to make up for it. Why else would they be ready to legalize in the state of New York, but look for a flavor ban and a high tax to fucking wipe out the rest of the industry?
Because then it's like
predominantly people mostly vape this shit instead of smoke it.
Yeah. And see, that's where I think we have an in. If you know, because I have cancer, I have tumors, brain tumors. How are they going to fetter out devices that are used for, because I don't, I use vaping devices for my THC CBD. Those are going to be taxed just as well and considered a tobacco product. We need to bring them in. Even if we get a fraction of them, here in Oregon, there's a 18% state sales tax. Then they slap on a 3% county tax and a 2% city tax. They're not going to want to lose that. You know what I mean? They don't want to piss that revenue off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody thinks here I'm crazy to bring them in. Well, we thought about that and it'll never work. Every place I've gone to and the people that I've talked to have all said, we didn't think about that. You're right. They're selling the similar devices I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
They're crossovers. Shoot, most of our vape shops sell CBD stuff.
Especially
I just
the
use
CBD stuff. Not as much the other stuff, but the CBD
Well,
stuff.
THC uses pen devices.
True.
Why aren't we tapping that community? Even if we got a fraction of it, it would help us greatly. I don't know. Am I crazy, Matt?
Again, though, that's part of the revolution that, the new vape revolution that, we've been pushing. We've had so much of the same style. Maybe it's time to pull something from another playbook. If what we're doing isn't working,
Does it hurt to at least try? I mean, really, if we're at the last hour because we see what's coming this year, does it hurt to try?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone's all like freaked out about stuff. And, DJ, said flavor ban. What about the individual testing per SKU in November? That alone will wipe out a bunch. That alone will wipe out 90+% of the industry.
Absolutely.
If they can actually enforce.
That's the thing. Again, there is no enforcement and there is no standards. How can you do testing when there is no standards on manufacturing?
Exactly.
So they don't know what the hell they're doing. Now, is there going to be an extension? God, I hope so.
Probably. My gut tells me there's going to be at least a year extension.
But you know what's going to happen if there's not? We're going to go back to the fucking DIY times.
Mm-hmm.
And
people selling out of their closets.
Yeah.
And out of the trunk of their car. Because
And see, that makes my job fun.
Yeah, same here.
That makes my job fun because
I think Matt becomes my new best friend.
So hey now.
No, so this is why it makes my job fun. So before, we can only do so much. Yeah, we've shut some companies down. Yeah, we've shut some websites down, et cetera, created blacklist, blah, 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 blah. But do you know what it would be like to go into someone's lab, i.e. their fucking closet or their fucking garage or some shit?
Trimmy's all over again.
And be able to fuck shit up? And what you going to do? Call the cops and say, someone came in and vandalized my illegal tobacco lab. How does that work for meth? How does that work for all the other illegal drugs out there? Because guess what? Your shit is going to get in trouble for having it in the first place.
Yep.
Make sure I hang her up right.
I gotta get that for my husband. He'd love it.
Oh, it's easy to make. You could make one easy.
That's how that one was made.
I was gonna say it looked like it was a made one, but actually you can make one to where it's convention friendly. And guess how you make it convention friendly? You get a plastic bat, you paint it wood paint, and then you actually use twine and wrap it, but you paint that silver and it works. Now that's a real one.
What do you mean?
VGPG,
you can tell that's real barbed wire.
Absolutely, Mr. K.
Really?
Absolutely. And they can't do that. I mean, they could.
Is that a fake one? Oh my goodness.
Don't fuck with me and Lucille's.
Maybe the neck, but everything else they couldn't, because VG and PG is used in everyday cooking things, bakery and concentrates. So, our flavorings are used for baking. So they couldn't do it with the VG, PG, or concentrates. So no, the only thing would be the neck.
But you know what the problem? All right. So when we talk about, the alternative this, the alternative that.
But you're leaving out the smoker.
The new, or the
ones
who convert.
And see, that's what, Matt, we tell people that all the time. Yes, we have a DIY show, but this show is the main show. We like to focus on this show. If we don't have another show in a week, this show is the one that we focus on.
Yeah.
If we're able to do the DIY show, we do it. But that's not the focus, because the focus has to be on what the most important side of it is, which is actually getting off your ass and doing your job.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. And too many people are not getting off their asses. Too many people are not talking to their politicians. Too many people are not going to rallies. Too many people are more concerned with what's the hottest new vape juice. People are concerned with when am I going to get my next order of Team Free shit. People are more concerned with how many fucking likes or comments their hand check makes. They're not caring about what happens if this industry goes away.
Exactly.
Amen.
And see, I'm going to be honest with you, I know you at one time, I don't know if you still are not the biggest fan of SaltNick. I'm not a big fan of it.
So my view on SaltNick has become, what's the term?
I know at one time you said that it was almost like Salter, that it was pretty much one of the most addicting forms.
It definitely was. So I was using, when I was on, when I was on using the Juul, and I just picked it up to try it out to bring it into my old shop, because this was only within like a month or two after Juul came out.
Yeah.
And they even sent us a sample, try it out and everything. By the time I realized that I was going through almost a pod a day,
Mm.
I didn't realize that I had a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing I know, I'm going through almost 3 pods a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing I know, I am literally vaping it in my sleep. I am rolling over in the middle of the night, picking up my Juul off of my table, hitting it, rolling back over, going back to sleep with it in my hand.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly what we talk about on this show. Can I say something? I don't mean to interrupt you because I think we're going to say on a similar field here. When I converted my husband, I did not use the Juul. I did use a pod system. However, I used those questions like you said. Well, I knew the answers because I live with him. But for him, the Nick salt worked. But
what milligram?
36.
Okay.
And I tapered him. He was down to 3 milligrams in 4 months and free-based. Once I got him
For the record, I absolutely hate that term.
Okay, I know, but I don't. Okay, regular e-liquid. I had him on regular e-liquid, regular Nick, by the time I got him at 18. I switched him over. So for him, it had that right hit of a nicotine or throat hit that he needed to convert. Because I had tried and tried and tried and tried with regular e-liquid all along, and it didn't work, but that did for him. However, I think these pod systems with like Juul with the 50 milligrams are problems. In my opinion, they're huge problems.
Now
you're into addiction versus dependency.
Well, now here's the thing. Here's the thing, Rob, before you start.
Go ahead.
Juul was created to be the perfect replacement for a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The feel, the draw, everything about it. And Juul was intended, and note the word intended, to be used as the same. You would basically take your pod as your pack, and you would puff on it, a couple pulls, and you would put it down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the problem with that little plan. You are talking about people in a country with the largest obesity rate because they can't put shit down. We are talking about a country with one of the highest addiction rates because they can't put shit down.
Yeah.
So you are now leaving it into the hands of the user to tell themselves, no, that's enough. I'm going to put that down now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you get people who puff on it over and 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 don't realize how much nicotine they're getting.
Right. With the cigarette, you see that you're taking them out of the pack and you see what you're smoking.
Not even that. With the cigarette, when you're fucking pulling on the damn thing, the whole thing gets hot.
Yeah.
So
I
had to quit using Juul. And the way I did it was I had the Innokin Aries rebuildable tank. And it was a process for me. Yeah. I started off on 24 milligram regular Nick in the rebuildable at like a 1.2 ohm coil at around like 15 watts.
Mm-hmm.
And I would use that. And then I would go through a 30 mil. And then I'd go through another 30 mil. And then I'd go through another 30 mil. And then I dropped it down to 18. And I'd go through a 30 mil. And I'd go through a 30 mil. And I'd go through a 30 mil. And then I dropped it down to a 12. Well, I'm still on 12.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm using a billet box with a Nautilus bridge in it and 12 milligram straight spearmint, actually, surprisingly enough. And I also now have a Nautilus tank on top of my DNA 250 Mad Modder box. Because
I have mine.
And yes,
that's what I use. I went from blowing clouds and low nicotine to 12 milligram mouth to lung.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, I don't know if you know this, but advocating and fighting for this industry stresses you the fuck out.
Oh, yeah.
And when you were a 3-pack a day smoker,
yes, sir,
you tend to have that urge not to smoke a cigarette, but to puff on something that's high nic, and I'll be damned if I was going back to salt. Now, to answer your question originally.
See, this is what I have sitting next to me.
Do I believe that there's a place for salt in the industry? Yes.
Yeah.
Even though, let's be honest, there's only about 4 or 5 companies that are actually legal for salt.
Yes.
And
I agree.
I think that there's a thing as too much nicotine. There is no reason for these 35, 45, 55. Hell, if you go through Eon, you can get 60, 70, and 80.
Yeah.
I know. I was flabbergasted.
I've told people, and I'm going to tell you this flat out. I can see a place for salt, like you said, but the max, 30. Right? Because I'll tell you right now, when I started vaping, I started on a 32 nic. And that was using plain nicotine, and I was about a pack and a half a day smoker. 24 would not do me, so I went up to 32, 36, right in that area. And it was Seduce Juice. I'm sure you remember them. They're an old school company. And then after the 35, or after the 30, the lowest I really think salt should be is 25. And here's the reason, Matt, and I'm going to explain. Because, when I was highly against salts and people told me to start doing my research, the individual that everybody was sending me to, he flat out said the only salt that is effective on the human body is 25 milligrams and over. So you can start on 30, go to 25, and if you don't want to go to 25, you stay at 30, but have 25 be the lowest salt because that's the least effective version of salts. Anything under that, it's not as effective on your system. It's just smoother when you take it, and when you're taking it and it's smoother, what is happening is you vape more, and therefore you are still getting more nicotine under 25. So what you do is anything under 25, we have gotten away from the smoker in the regular nic.
Yes.
Because we no longer have anything. It is very difficult, other than maybe Vapes Gone Wild. Little plug for Dave, because that's his company that he works with, that actually has smoker-friendly liquids anymore. I mean,
there's still plenty of companies out there.
There's very few, though. I've not seen hardly any. You
still got 5 Pawns, which has been a leader in targeting for the smoker. You still have Ripe Vapes has VCT and other flavors available in 12 milligram. Ian Firth's line has 12, 18, I believe 24 milligram available. There are many companies out there that do use high milligram nicotine.
But they don't have as much exposure either. That's the problem.
Right. See, now this is the problem as well. All of these companies that do target the smoker are not being lifted up. We're still being seen with the, Paradigm has 50-50 high nic, regular nic as well. These companies are not getting the exposure. They're not getting the appreciation that they should get. And part of the problem is also, these companies are the ones that are donating to advocacy. These companies are the ones that are fighting the fight. And when they don't get the exposure, they don't make the money. When they don't have the money, they can't donate to advocacy.
Yeah.
They can't keep their own doors open. So you see a lot of these great companies going under because, like Smiley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these companies that can't keep up with what's going on right now, people say, well, they need to donate to advocacy. Yes, they have been.
Yeah.
But the problem is they can't be the only ones doing it.
No, and that's the problem, too. I mean, a lot of the other companies just aren't doing it. But see, part of the issue has been, you know, I hate to say it, this is looking at it. Now, mind you, I came in right during the first generation of the sub-ohm wave. Okay, so that tells you about the time I started. Right during the Atlantis, the very first Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
From then on, it's always been about, until recently, it's always been about the high volume and clouds. Ever since the sub-ohm generation started.
Cloud, bro, cloud.
And the whole issue that I've personally seen is that a lot of the good companies, like Space Jam, they used to have higher nicks. They quit making them. And, you know, Space Jam, you'll admit this probably, Matt, you know, they're one of the first that saw the issues with their labels and actually changed them.
Yes.
They were one of the first. And
they also dropped their convictions, though.
Yeah.
And I have a slight issue with that. There used to be a time Space Jam wouldn't want to be sold in a shop that had anything to do with tobacco, anything to do with head shops, stuff like that. And now if you go into a head shop or a gas station, shit, that's the first company you see on the show.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they got rid of their higher nicks. I don't even know if Seduce Juice is still around.
They were also a 60-40.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You can't get rid of your high nick and have people be fucking using a mech mod or something like that on 60-40. That shit just rips you up.
Yeah, you've got to be at 50-50.
I'm not sure about that. Dash
no, you got to be at a 70-30, 80-20 for that.
Is Space Jam one of the ones that was bought by Big Tobacco?
There's rumors. I don't know for sure.
I haven't heard that rumor, and this is the first I'm hearing it. So, but if you're saying there's rumors, I believe you.
There's rumors. I don't know for 100% sure, but there's rumors that they get bought out.
And it wouldn't surprise me because, I mean, I'll tell you right now, you know, because Steve and I were
if you look at the ones that have been bought out, Cosmic Fog, Lost Art, Space Jam, the Space Jam, you're looking at the original giants of the industry.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, Steve flat out said he called this back in the beginning. He said flat out, all your big companies are going to get started to be bought out by Big Tobacco, and Big Tobacco's going to take over the industry. He called this back 2 years ago.
I'm pretty sure
I knew that a long time ago.
Well, 2 to 3, maybe more. I mean, I just remember when he and I first started the show, we were talking, because he came on as one of my first people ever on the show, and then he became a regular, and he became my co-host.
Well, I'm just saying, I knew that a long time ago. I mean, it took off because, well, I'm sitting here looking at, look, I have a Patriot drilled out. You know, I mean, that's how long I've been doing this. So I have punched Cardos here. You know, I mean, that's how I remember rebuilding Kanger coils. So, Big Tobacco would be stupid not to, because it did take off, not to buy into it, that the writing was on the wall. And then when you saw the UK then prescribing it and really coming out with the science, they were stupid not to buy into it.
Yeah, like Vapor Beast.
Of course. I mean, you're like, come on. Of course they're going to do it.
Well. Hold on. That's not Big Tobacco. That's medium to little tobacco.
Well, yeah, but still tobacco.
But now let's be honest, though. I hate Big Tobacco. I hate Altria. I hate Marlboro. I hate Philip Morris. I hate all that shit. But now you have to look at it this way.
They're buying into the technology.
The little tobacco companies that buy into the vape industry technically keep it alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it not better that that company is still around to have products to convert smokers?
That's true. Yeah.
You know, so like for instance, Juul folded at the crack of a whip to the FDA.
Of course.
What tobacco company did not? Can anyone answer me that question? That is a vape product.
Aspire.
Nope.
And it can
No, Aspire has.
Did you just call Aspire tobacco?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I said they did not fold to big tobacco.
But he was talking about big tobacco.
No, what company that is tobacco, might not be big tobacco, but is tobacco, did not fold to the FDA. In fact, fought the FDA. Oh, come on. It's one of the oldest companies out there.
Philip Morris?
No.
I said not big tobacco.
Oh, not big tobacco. Yeah, I can see Blue, what Dash is saying.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. It was Blue. Blue told the FDA, our customers, the users of our product, have quit using flavors. And that flavors are detrimental to the smoker transitioning to vaping. So, and now, Blue is Phantom Holding and Imperial Tobacco. So they're not exactly little, but they're not Altria and Philip Morris.
Right, which is the majority of the industry.
So, no. A lot of the other companies got bought out by Zigzag. A lot of the other companies got bought out by other tobacco. Technically, since Juul is 68% of the vape industry, yes, big tobacco does have that majority. But these other companies, like for instance, I want to say it was Zigzag bought out Dripco. Don't quote me on it, but I want to say it was. Now, this is a small tobacco company that makes rolling papers.
I know. I used to use Zigzag for my flute to clean it.
So, it's hard to, when we start talking about big tobacco and we start talking about tobacco and we start talking about vape companies, it's very easy to get upset and emotional and very dismissive about it. But you have to ask yourself, what is the long-term goal of vaping? And we know the way that the industry is now is not going to stay that way. We're not going to be able to keep it with everything. And I'm going to leave you all on this because I actually have to bounce.
Yeah.
But what is the goal? To convert smokers to a harm reduction that is 95.5% less harmful than cigarettes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So are we fighting for the way it is now, or are we fighting for the vapors, and are we fighting for the possible smokers?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave y'all with that. Thank you for having me on.
It was great having you, Matt. And I was about ready to say it's already almost 1 a.m. and I can see Matt starting to glaze over.
I appreciate it, Matt, and it really is great to have you on. I really appreciate it. It does put food for thought for us, but a different perspective as well. And what you've done in New York has been fantastic, and I really applaud you for it because that's a hard state. Can't get much harder than that, or California.
Everyone, just keep fighting the good fight. Fight your local fight. And take it deep. Stay savage. Educate. Advocate. Be an activist. And have unity.
Exactly. And guys, don't forget, like I said, tomorrow night, go over to the Legion if you don't already watch them. They're going to be on 11
Absolutely.
o'clock per Tristan.
Yep.
As of right now. I won't be there, but it's because I'm going to be at work.
I'll show up.
So Jen
I'll
will
try
probably
to.
be there. And
I'll
when I get home by 2 o'clock, we will have tomorrow night shoot the shit for at least an hour. Hopefully less, or hopefully just an hour, because I know I'm already going to be glazed over by the time.
Oh, we'll have fun though.
But I cannot wait, and hopefully Sunday night, if I'm not too tired, I'll be able to hop on to do a DIY show. I may unveil once again my cornbread pudding that I've put together. I've had some people say they think it's too much. Some people say they think it's a good recipe, so I'm going to go ahead and do it probably Sunday night. So can't wait.
Thank you guys all. Check out VAEP. She will have Kellyanne next week. Again, check out Legion. Find us on all the social medias. We will be unveiling some new things. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow night. If not, we'll wait and do it sometime during the week. We're still working on that, on some new things that are coming to the channel. So, and also, we're in legislative season, so figure out what's going on in your state. Get actively involved if you have an advocacy group. Get out, write your stories, contact your legislators. If you can, they have offices in all your counties. Sit down and speak with someone within their office, and face-to-face is best. And watch the replays. And we hope to see you again tomorrow night. And again next Friday night, same bat channel, same bat time. So I hope you guys have a good night. Be safe, and reach out to us on our website, nvrnetwork.com, or on our channels. So we're here for you.
Okay, guys, I am heading out of here with Jen, and we will see you guys tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
There we go. Oh, hey. Nope.
Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
Hey, if you like what you've seen here, there's much more to come. Just click one of the two boxes up here in the corner. And you know what? If you've liked it, make sure to subscribe. Just click the little button right there. Talk to you later, guys.